The Shadow in the Valley. In a village nestled between towering mountains, there lived a young boy named Arun. The villagers often spoke of a shadow that haunted the valley below the mountains, a place so feared that no one dared to venture near it. This shadow, they said, was the embodiment of every fear they had ever known. Children grew up hearing tales of the shadow, and Arun was no exception. His nights were filled with dreams of a dark figure lurking in the valley, waiting to ensnare the unwary. The fear grew within him like a persistent weed, choking his spirit and casting a dark pall over his life. Arun became obsessed with the shadow, his fear becoming an ever-present companion. He avoided the valley at all costs, and even the mere thought of it sent shivers down his spine. His friends teased him, calling him cowardly, but Arun couldn't shake the terror that gripped him whenever he thought of the valley. The shadow, though unseen, ruled his life, dictating his actions and thoughts, filling his days with dread and his nights with restless sleep. As Arun grew older, his fear of the shadow did not diminish, instead, it seemed to grow stronger. The village elders spoke of a time when a young hero would rise to confront the shadow and free the village from its curse. Arun, secretly, wished that someone else would be that hero, for he could not imagine facing the horrors that lay in the valley. But as time passed, no hero emerged, and the villagers began to lose hope. Arun's fear turned into guilt, for deep down, he knew that he was the one destined to face the shadow. The weight of this knowledge bore heavily upon him, and he found himself avoiding even the mention of the valley. But the more he tried to push away the thought, the more it consumed him. Arun began to realize that his fear was not just of the shadow, but of failure, of letting down his village, of proving that he was not the hero they needed. The fear twisted inside him, making him feel small and powerless, and he became convinced that he was not strong enough to face what awaited him in the valley. One day, driven by an overwhelming sense of duty, Arun decided that he could no longer live in the shadow of his fear. He knew that the only way to free himself, and his village, was to face the shadow head-on. The journey to the valley was fraught with trepidation. Each step was heavy with the weight of his fear, and the closer he got to the valley, the more intense his anxiety became. The sky seemed to darken as he approached, and the air grew colder, as if the valley itself were alive with malevolent intent. Arun's heart pounded in his chest, and every fiber of his being screamed at him to turn back. But he pushed forward, determined to confront the shadow that had haunted him for so long. When he finally stood at the edge of the valley, he could see the darkness swirling within, a void that seemed to pull at his very soul. Arun hesitated, fear threatening to overwhelm him, but he knew that this was the moment he had been avoiding all his life. Summoning every ounce of courage, he stepped into the valley.